Okay, so I wanted to talk about Teal Swan. I watched a lot of her stuff quite a few years ago, and there's just something off about her. I know a lot of people are saying this, and then a lot of people think she's a liar, and some people think that she might have been abused sexually or whatever it was. Now, I'm training to be a therapist. I don't have a license yet. I'm still working on the schooling. So, but as far as like what she displays, um, if you watch, there's a lot of videos on her. I'll post a link of one video, and then you should look at ones after that. I'll tell you in a minute, but um, so I write transcripts between the abuser that did all these horrific things to her supposedly. Um, I read that. I watched all the videos, pretty much every video that she would put out. And I believe she might be a borderline because I, there was one video I watched in the beginning of, trying to understand her background and her timeline of like, how how she got to where she's at now. And she indicated that she would cut herself and she would make herself bleed, and she said she had to do this for this cult and for that satanic cult that she was in. And like if you're cutting yourself, that's definitely indicative of someone that may be borderline because they tend to cut themselves. Now, a borderline definitely has trauma. There's no doubt about that. And you don't even have to be a therapist or mental health professional to know that. Um, and so, and that's the thing. It's like if someone went through a lot of trauma, they're not going to start a cult. They'll probably just share their experience, but they're not going to like start a cult and like say they're half alien, and it's just bizarre. Um, and I will say, I follow Chinese zodiac, and she's Year of the Rat, and I believe rats are sneaky. When you think about it, they go and sneak food from a refrigerator and then take it in their little hole and hide it. So the thing that's really odd about Teal Swan is why is she in Costa Rica? Here's the thing: Costa Rica won't extradite you back to America. You can't be extradited. So if she commits crimes or does anything in the U.S. and she goes there, I don't think they can yank her back. So I'm thinking something to do with that. But I've heard accounts of her talking about how I think she was cutting herself and then she fled this cult and then went to go and ended up being with this guy Blake. I don't think they had a relationship or anything. It was just friendship or something, and I guess he had to prevent her from like cutting herself, and then she indicated that I think her parents were like PhD professors or something like that, and then so and then her parents were like put her in a cult. Like it was, I mean, I can definitely find the information again. It might take a while, but um, there's just like all these red flags that just pop up. It's like, she's claiming she's an alien. I mean, come on, that's weird. That's very bizarre. I mean, maybe she's like going back to her childhood and imagining things. I mean, I do believe in psychic abilities and things like that. I do. You can be very intuitive, especially if you're an INFJ. Just FYI. But but she also did the frog poison. I think it's called Toad Venom 53. And there's some celebrities that are taking that too and supposedly killing off your ego. And, but it's like, it's a poison. So it's like going to kill you if you take it. So it's very risky taking that stuff. And I've heard many people talking about taking this frog venom. And it's like, and well, here's the thing: Mike Tyson took it, and then like he said, he almost died from taking it, and then I think it has something to do with like I don't think it's just an ego thing. I think it's also for trauma. And but I mean, probably I mean, this is a little side note, but I think that with Mike Tyson, he took it, and but then he's like lying about like how he didn't rape that girl when she was 17, and well, anyways, but so I just thought it was odd. Well, I think you can only get the frog poison, I think, down in Costa Rica and maybe in Arizona or something like that. But I mean, she's I don't know. Well, she had a documentary that came out recently, and I haven't watched it, but um, there's experts and people, and I think there might be even victims on there that were talking about their experience living with her, or being at a retreat center, and she charges quite a bit. And but you know, there's not much information about her parents, and she says she doesn't talk to them. And probably the other thing I thought that was really odd is, well, I mean, she's definitely overly sexual. If you find pictures of her on the internet, she's posing very sexually, and it is possible that if you've been sexually abused, you can be, you know, maybe afraid of sex, not want to do it, or you're very promiscuous and like overly showing your body. But she doesn't really come off as someone that, um, well, borderline histrionic people tend to want attention a lot, all the time. And then borderlines, you know, have a fear of abandonment, feel unsafe, they don't trust anybody. So, but something definitely happened to her. But it's just people that gone through abuse, they don't start a cult. I mean, that's the biggest red flag. They don't start a cult. And she's not really trained in anything. And, you know, living through trauma and things like that, like I've experienced, like, yeah, you don't feel safe at all. But I never caught myself or anything like that, or done drugs or anything, but, well, Teal Swan, there's just a lot of red flags. And the whole visualizing your death thing, that's a bit bizarre. I think some people have said when they went to her retreat, she's very rude, she's very nasty. So it's definitely something wrong. And she's a bit of a perfectionist. She almost kind of reminds me of Angelina Jolie, where I think she has an issue, you know, I think she might have been sexually abused. And she was like married to a guy that was like 30 years older than her. So she definitely lacks a father, for sure. But like I said, we don't really hear much about Teal Swan's family. Does she even have any siblings? I don't know. But, what else is it? I haven't really paid for any of her services or anything like that. I mean, she's very pretty. There's no doubt about that. And, but, I think she said one time to her abuser, I think that I think she said, well, he's a veterinarian, and he used to like impregnate her and give her ketamine, which is like a horse tranquilizer. And it's like a lot of the stuff that she says, it sounds like something my parents would say. They're 1960s people. They got into the hippie movement, cults. My dad was like constantly around cults. My dad's family is around cults, and they're like doing the frog poison too. It's like, what is this? It's like, are we going back to 1970 or something? But I have to say, Utah is a really messed up state. I believe that's where she was from, or Idaho, somewhere out there. But it's like Utah, you got the FDLS with Jeff Warren, I think that was his name, and he was like doing polygamy and getting married to, he was like sexually abusing his daughter. And oh my god, it's such a mess. But I'd be curious to see the documentary on her, but I think I pretty much know what it's about. I mean, I've read a lot of information about her, so it's probably just a condensed documentary of just everything about her and her cult. So, but I was also in a cult myself, you know, hence the videos that I have. Um, but yeah, I mean, and also she claims to be a relationship expert. It's like, hasn't she been married like 3 times? It's like I would think that you're an expert. Well, I guess if you're an expert, you have a lot of experience, right? So I mean, maybe I guess she needs to get married a few more times for me to believe that she's an expert. I don't know, but um, but I think I think she doesn't like if you don't measure up to her expectations. I think she just kind of discards you, and that sounds like a borderline histrionic to me. More borderline. People are saying she's a sociopath, and it's like, I mean, I'll actually post a video. I'm not sure if this is the one where she's crying, but there was a news station, Idaho News 6, did a couple of interviews. I think it's like one interview was chopped up into a few videos. I'll post the first one, and then you can see the second and third one after that on the right hand side on YouTube. Um, but I think she starts crying, and it's like, I don't know if she's crying because of this cult that she was in. I think she's more crying about maybe the abuse from her parents. But I thought it was really weird. One time I read I think it was a video, I read something where Teal Swan's parents didn't know how to deal with her and ended up, and she was like really wild. So I think they ended up wanting this friend to help her. And why why would your parents want their friend to help their daughter? It's like, and then I think Teal Swan did therapy, and she's like, I think the perpetrator that she claims did the horrific things to her. I think he was saying that like the therapist that she went to was like brainwashing her to believe that he was this perpetrator. I don't know. I mean, he sounds like a nasty country folk type of person, and maybe he did do something. Maybe not to the degree that she's saying, but you gotta understand with borderlines, they definitely have trauma. They usually grow up in a chaotic household, or there's a lack of something. So, so with her situation, um, like, well, I mean, if you saw the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, I mean, so with Amber Heard, she's erratic. She's really hard to talk to. She gets worked up easily. She's very violent. Now, I'm not saying Teal Swan is like that, but well, I think she gets worked up kind of easily sometimes. But I just think with her, what am I trying to say here? I just think with Teal, that's not her real name. At least I thought her real name was like Mary or something. Her first name. So with Teal, I mean, I wonder if she's with anybody right now. Probably not. It's probably getting worse. That's another thing with disordered people. They can be very difficult to be with in a relationship for a long time because their disorder gets so bad that they they can be hard to deal with unless they get therapy. And I think I think Teal Swan was like sharing this stuff about this perpetrator, and I think someone told her to go contact the FBI about it, and I don't know if she ever did that. But here's the thing with borderlines, they can be paranoid and kind of make things up. So if they didn't do a full-on investigation, then maybe it didn't even happen at all. So, some of the stuff that she's saying is very vague. Someone that's been through trauma is like pretty specific things. Like, there's like no real pause unless you're like crying or whatever. But I think she thinks this whole thing is funny. She thinks this whole cult thing that she made is funny. Like, she has everybody wrapped around her finger thinking that she's this victim. And I mean, something definitely happened to her. I'm not exactly sure what, but but I think the the perpetrator, I think he was saying that he was not religious and he was not all these things that she claimed he was. And I don't know, maybe she's just playing tricks on everybody. And but I mean, she's able to get a lot of followers and things like that. So and my older brother is Year of the Rat as well, and he tended to be pretty popular even though he had a lot of problems, and he got into drugs and things like that. So what else? Just trying to think. So I really wanted to get this video out for a long time. I just really wanted to give my take about Teal Swan and what I remember and stuff. And I remember I was in the cult, the Twin Flame cult, and some people were saying they liked watching Teal Swan videos and like they thought they could learn stuff from her. But here's the thing that I'm noticing. I think a lot of us have been abused by our parents and we're looking for some safety. Like we're looking for people that are like us. Like I don't know if a lot of you are like millennials like me, a millennial, but like I know that I came from a very disordered home. I'm not sure about any of you guys, but I just find a lot of these cults, if you get into them, it means you probably have a bad home and you probably did get abused. And that's why we're going into a cult, because we're vulnerable, we don't have anybody, some of us, and we don't really have love and support. So my abusive father, he died a couple months ago, and then my mom, who's very disordered as well, she's still alive, but it's just a matter of time. She doesn't take good care of herself, so I wouldn't be surprised if I get a call here soon. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I guess I'll just check out her documentary sometime and just see, um, and just just see if there's any other information that I haven't heard about. But like I said, I'll post a link of one of the videos that I watched on her, and I think the news station people, I think they don't believe her, so I think they kind of say that out loud. Uh-oh. Not the best thing to say, but okay, well, I'll see you in the next video.